Are you looking for the best PC gaming controllers? In this video, we will look at some of the 5 best PC gaming controllers the market. Before we get started with our video, we have included links in the description. So make sure you check those out to see which one is in your budget range. Number 1. 8-bit Do Ultimate Controller. No matter what system you're playing on, it's hard to find a better gamepad than the 8-bit Do Ultimate Controller, which offers premier comfort and performance at a reasonable price. Its textured grips feel great on the palms of your hands, and although the joysticks aren't as grippy as more expensive gamepads, they're still comfortable. And every button presses down with a satisfying click. I'm also a big fan of the Ultimate Controller's rumble, which feels more natural and consistent than any other gamepad I've used. The 8-bit Do Ultimate's most impressive quality is how customizable it is. Using the free 8-bit Do Ultimate software app, available for PC, Android, and iOS, you can edit any button input, adjust the joystick and trigger dead zones, and set the rumble strength. You can even set up macros, shortcut button combinations, to automatically perform complex tasks. The Ultimate Controller is also compatible with a wide array of different devices. As of this writing, it works with PC, Mac, Switch, Android, iPhone, iPad, Apple TV, Steam Deck, and Raspberry Pi. And if that's not enough, the controller also comes bundled with a charging dock, which makes it easy to store and charge when not in use. It's an immense amount of value. The Ultimate Controller's few flaws are minor. It can't connect to Windows using Bluetooth, but only 2.4 GHz, which is a stronger connection but requires using an included USB dongle. The paddle buttons on the back are useful but easy to press accidentally. And the white edition of the controller picks up dirt easily. Its face buttons are also designed to match Nintendo consoles, which means the A and B buttons are mapped like the Nintendo controllers. 8-bit Do also sells variations of this gamepad. Our previous recommendation was the Ultimate 2.4G controller, which supports Windows, Apple, and Android devices but not gaming consoles. There are also wired and wireless models for the Xbox consoles and Windows, and the face buttons match a typical Xbox-style layout. I love the 8-bit Do Ultimate Controller and strongly recommend it as the best PC gaming controller, iOS gaming controller, and Nintendo Switch controller. Most PC gamers will be satisfied with the 2.4G model, but the Bluetooth version is better for Switch owners and the less expensive wired version for budget shoppers. Number 2. HyperX Clutch Gladiate Wired Controller. The wired version of our best overall pick, the 8-bit Do Ultimate, is also a great budget controller, but if you're looking for an alternative, you can't go wrong with the HyperX Clutch Gladiate. This controller looks simple but actually has a few cool features. It has switches on the back that let you change the trigger buttons from analog to digital, and vice versa. Also on the back are 2 extra paddle buttons that can be remapped to any other button, no software needed. And at the bottom, you'll find a 3.5mm jack for headphones and microphones. Alongside these extra features, the Clutch Gladiate offers the same high-quality joysticks and face buttons you'd expect from a great PC controller. The Clutch Gladiate's budget status does come across in its design, though. The handles don't have much grip, and they're wider than those on most other controllers, meaning they'll feel awkward in smaller hands. The aesthetic design isn't great. The joysticks and bumpers, in particular, look cheap, even though they feel fine. There also aren't any wireless options. You'll need to connect it to your PC with a USB-C cable. Despite these flaws, the HyperX Clutch Gladiate is a reliable gamepad that will carry you comfortably through any game. If you want the best PC controller for gaming on a budget, this model should be high on your list. Number 3. Xbox Elite Series 2 Core Controller, White. The crown jewel of the PC gaming controller market is the Xbox Elite Series 2. Built with a mix of cool rubber and smooth plastic, it's hard to find a better controller from any manufacturer if you can afford it. The Xbox Elite excels in nearly every area. It features clicky, tactile face buttons and finely gripped joysticks. 2 switches on the back let you adjust how hard you can press the trigger buttons before they register, ranging from analog to digital. The handles are covered in an amazingly comfortable rubber grip. The Xbox Accessories app, free for Windows, lets you edit inputs, adjust vibration, configure joystick sensitivity, and more. You can save up to 3 profiles onto the same controller and switch on the fly. But the Xbox Elite's biggest selling point is its interchangeable parts. The controller comes with a carrying case, and inside that case are a new D-pad, a variety of different joysticks, and paddles. You can easily remove the D-pad and joysticks that the controller already has there latched on with relatively weak magnets and replace them. This gives you a massive amount of control over how your gamepad functions and how it feels in your hands. The replaceable parts aren't perfect. The paddles, in particular, feel flimsy, and it's easy to knock them out of place while playing. But the customizability, combined with the included charging dock and long battery life up to 40 hours, makes the Xbox Elite a supremely convenient controller. At a retail price of $176, the Xbox Elite is absolutely a premium buy. But if you have the budget and know that you'll be using it a lot, it's a worthwhile investment. Note that Microsoft also sells a cheaper version of this controller, called the Xbox Elite Series 2 Core. Both gamepads are the same, except that the Core package doesn't include the carrying case, charging dock, or extra buttons. If you only want an official Xbox controller, you could also opt for the standard Xbox Core wireless controller. It's a third of the price but isn't as customizable and uses AA batteries. It might be more affordable, but it's nowhere near as convenient. Number 4. Asus ROG Raikiri Pro Controller. Like most Asus products, the ROG Raikiri Pro is flashy and functional. Its front side is lit with a subtle RGB glow, which is sure to complement any RGB-enabled PC setup. The Asus ROG Raikiri Pro is expensive, $170, but earns its premium status. Finely gripped joysticks and handles make gaming comfortable, and responsive buttons mean you'll never miss an input. It also has one of the best circular D-pads I've ever used and, by far, the best paddle buttons. These paddles are positioned in the exact right spot to make them easy to press when you want to, but they're hard to hit accidentally. You can customize any of the buttons, along with the joysticks, using the free Armory Crate PC app. This app also lets you edit the RGB lights by allowing you to choose new colors and strobe effects. It offers a wonderful amount of personalization. The ROG Raikiri Pro's most striking feature is the small screen at the top of the controller, which can display the current battery life and profile. Using the Armory Crate app, you can also design and run short animations on the screen while you play. While it's fun to look at for the first few minutes, it's more annoying than interesting after that point. Between the sleek RGB lights and amazing grip design, the ROG Raikiri Pro both looks and feels great. Number 5. 8BitDo SN30 Pro Bluetooth Controller. Easily one of 8BitDo's best PC gaming controllers, the SN30 Pro is a compact gamepad that blends retro design with modern controls. It's a must-have for any PC gamer who focuses primarily on classic games from the early console or handheld eras, or modern 2D platformers. The SN30 Pro's best quality aside from its sleek design, which calls back to the iconic SNES controller, is its D-pad. The D-pad is sturdy and responsive. Unlike other controllers with squishy D-pads, you'll never wonder if you're pressing the SN30 Pro's D-pad hard enough or have to tap twice because your input didn't register. And it's covered with a light texture that helps keep your thumb in place, even while mashing. It's one of the best D-pads I've ever used. This makes the SN30 Pro fantastic for games that rely on a good D-pad, like 2D platformers and other classic 2D games. If you're big into classic emulation, it's made for you. It also features twin joysticks and twin triggers, meaning you can play any game with it, though it's a bit too small to be comfortable with some modern titles. The SN30 Pro is compatible with many different devices, both wired and wirelessly. In addition to a Windows PC, you can connect the controller to your Mac, Nintendo Switch, Steam Deck, Android, iPhone, iPad, and Raspberry Pi. When connected to a Switch, it has motion controls, too. It can be confusing to switch between devices. Make sure you keep your controller manual to remember the pairing process, but it gives you so much freedom. The only real drawback with this controller is its default button configuration. Most versions of the SN30 Pro come with their face buttons in the Nintendo layout, which puts the B button on the bottom and the A button on the right. Most PC games default to the more common Xbox configuration, which reverses those buttons. 8BitDo does sell a version of the controller in the Xbox configuration, but it's made primarily for cloud gaming on Android phones, so you'll need to buy a separate USB adapter to use it with your PC. 8BitDo also offers a wired version of the SN30 Pro, which costs about $20 less. It's not compatible with as many devices, but it's worth a look if your budget is tight.